COVID vaccine from Pfizer gets FDA full approval earlier today. A hurricane, or rather a tropical storm, makes landfall on the eastern coast, and Giannis Antetokounmpo becomes part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. What is going on, everyone? Juan here at Lounge Room Press 1 on this beautiful Monday, August 23rd, 2021. It is very steamy here in Milwaukee today. I believe it's 86 out there, very humid. Hence why I am wearing a very summer-like, I'm in a very summer-like attire on this fine afternoon. I'm here with my two co-hosts, of course, Wyatt. You can find him on Twitter at TheCornelius7 and Julius at The Fifth Top. Gentlemen, how are you both doing? Happy Monday. Happy start to the work week. I hope you both had a fantastic weekend. Julius, we'll start with you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, Juan. I'm doing quite well. I had a pretty good weekend. All things considered, had to watch the Lions third stringers get destroyed by Ben Roethlisberger and every Pittsburgh starter for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, NFL Network turns off the game. So, I mean, other than that.
Because they're so trash.
No, actually, they do that to a lot of – they have horrible – NFL Network has horrible preseason coverage. They air like 10 games on a Saturday, and they cut like – 8 or 9 of them late because the other game is starting and they don't want the fans to miss the start of the next game. So it was just horrible. I can't wait till the regular season. Sunday Ticket, DirecTV is reliable.
Well, I'm glad you have a reliable source to watch your horrible team. That's unfortunately your team isn't so
there has to be some sunshine through the darkness.
Well, we'll get to football here in the second half because we got a lot to talk in the first half. But first, Wyatt, how are you doing? How was your weekend? How was your day?
We know how our day is, guys. Let's talk about it. No, I'm kidding. I'm trying not to get triggered on Twitter because there's a lot of things going on. Julius tweets about the Bears, then tweets about the Lions, hating on Lions fans, hating on Bears fans. There's the vaccine. There's the vaccination that's going on. So I'm just trying not to just get triggered by a lot of things. But I did get triggered today, as my friends know. But I'm better now, and I hope to have a good show. And Julius, please stop tweeting about the Bears, man. Come on, until the season's
I sometimes the Bears games are on NFL Network too, and like the Bears played. Who did y'all play this past weekend? I forgot. The Bills, I believe.
The Bills.
Yeah. Mitch Trubisky lit y'all ass up, and it was entertaining to watch Mitch Trubisky become y'all father.
That was like your Super Bowl moment, Julius, what you saw on Saturday, and I'm so glad
it was way better than the Lions game.
I'm so glad that the Bears could give you that little ray of happiness that your team in Detroit cannot do and will not do. So, with that being said, we'll get to sports. Wyatt and I will get our chance here in the second half to go at you because there were a lot of tweets that you put out this week that even I was like, wow, Julius is really out there.
Observation,
letting Bears fans have it, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get our chance. We'll get our chance. The Pfizer vaccine today became FDA approved earlier this morning, and actually we were gonna discuss Afghanistan first, but then this happened. I think maybe like an hour or so after I put out the tweet about the agenda for today. So what we did earlier this evening, a little bit. Excuse me, right before we came on the show, we put out a Twitter poll because those are just the most reliable source of gathering information, right? Beautiful, good old Twitter where Julius punches air every single day. I want to take a look at how that's going, and so I'm going to try this screen sharing capability again. See if I can actually get it to work this time because last week when I tried it, a few weeks back, it was another disaster. So. Let me see if I can share this because I'm interested in seeing. All right, there we go. Hope all of you at home can see this. Julius and Wyatt, I hope you guys can still hear me, of course. So this is where we're at, right? So right now, 71% of you all are saying that you guys are already vaccinated, that it doesn't, this doesn't really affect you. We still now see, right, that 13.9% of you are saying no. that even with FDA approval, that the vaccine is not going into your body. 10% have changed course and say that it will be, will be administered. And then, of course, you have approximately 4% who are saying that they are not sure. So, is this, obviously, it's a small sample size, right? 180 votes so far, but can we start to see a trend with the American people wanting to get this vaccine now that it's FDA approved, that it's cleared by the Food and Drug Administration? Do you guys think we'll begin to see a trend of more people saying, yes, let's go out there and get this vaccine so that we can actually, have a little more protection against the COVID variants that are out in the world right now? Julius, I'll start with you, just because I know you're always very opinionated and you are always very eager to share your thoughts. And then after you share your thoughts, Julius, I got a message a few minutes, literally just within the last few seconds, that I'm going to read out loud. It's a personal message from one of our listeners. But Julius, go ahead.
As far as the question, if now that the FDA has approved the vaccine, will we see a trend of more people getting it? Yes. Why is it yes? It is yes because people were waiting on that, actually, because the FDA has to approve everything we put in our bodies, from food to medicine to whatever else. The FDA is the czar of health and administration in this country. So more people are going to get it now, because a lot of people were saying they were going to wait for the FDA. I would say out of the 30% of American adults that was not vaccinated before today, another 5 to 8% will get the vaccine just because of the FDA approving it, the Pfizer vaccine. But another thing I think that the rate of vaccination is going to increase either way, because the longer this Delta variant is around, it's going to start affecting people, either directly or indirectly. And once it affects you, you see the virus differently and you see the vaccine differently. How would I know that? Because I was affected indirectly by somebody close to me getting it. And from that point forward, this is the first time I'm telling anybody this, even my co-host. From that point forward, I saw the vaccine, I saw the virus in a different light. When it hits you personally, it's no longer an impersonal ordeal in your head, like, oh, it never happened to me. It gets too close to you, you see the danger in it, and you react because you want to live and you want those close to you live. So as time goes by, people will trust it more. The FDA approving it will allow people to trust it more. And people being affected by it, the ones that aren't vaccinated, because evidently if you're vaccinated, you can still get it. You can still pass it to other people. You're just not supposed to die from it. You might even get a little bit sick, but you're not supposed to be in a hospital. You're not supposed to die. So for those reasons alone, vaccination rates will increase in this country. I am not anti-vax, but I'm anti-forced to vax, because they're saying now that the FDA has approved this thing, that they're going to start mandating it more. Jobs, especially in the government, military, hospitals, pretty much everywhere, schools, they're going to start, you have to get this vaccine if you want to come here. I am against that. That is what I am against, because you shouldn't force any medicine, food, foreign object in anybody's body in the United States of America against their will, or give them the ultimatum to do so. That is wrong for the values of our country and our Constitution. I don't care. I don't care what it is. Okay, I just don't care. You cannot force it on people. All right. Let people wake up on their own. Let people see it on their own. Let people decide when they're ready.
I guess the question then would be, how many people have to die before people start seeing, right, that this is what the vaccine can do? That's kind of like hypothetical question. Apparently, the amount that has died already isn't enough, right? So, I'm with you on that aspect, right? I don't think it should be forced, but I would prefer if people would go out and get the vaccine, on their own will. I want to read this message, and again, I just got this a few minutes ago, and then Wyatt, I'll let you provide your input as well on this. But so didn't want to write this out or type this out in the comments due to fear of backlash and with cancel culture and all that. So my friend says, or he says, I'm not getting the vaccine because it's being forced on us. It doesn't make sense. For a virus that has such a high probability of surviving, I don't feel a need to get it. I'm a healthy adult with no underlying health issues. If my work mandated, I would make them fire me. I'm not anti-vax because I'm up to date on all my vaccines, tetanus, hepatitis, etc. But if I felt this virus was serious, I would get it, but I don't. Sorry, that's harsh, but those are my beliefs. So again, right? We there's still this notion amongst the general public that the virus isn't serious, that it doesn't warrant the need to get a vaccine. That's kind of some of the reasoning why people will continue to refuse it. Now, in this particular example, you have this individual saying that they would quit their job if their job mandated that vaccine on them. Why I know you're a teacher. That's what you do, and I'm not sure how the school district out there is where you're at, how they're going to go about that with the vaccine. Are they going to mandate it? Are they going to require all staff to be vaccinated? But I guess and you can answer the original question as well that I had asked Julius, right? If now that it has FDA approval, is there going to be this more of a motivation, right, for individuals to get vaccinated as well? So what are your thoughts on those things? I know you don't have to share too much about what you do, but what are your thoughts on in that regard?
I think what I've been gathering from information on people posting on Twitter is a lot of people are saying that the FDA approved it too fast and they're still untrustworthy. So I'm kind of against what Julius says. I think there will be some people that'll do it now that it's FDA approved, but I think the majority of people that haven't taken it are going to be on the fence about it unless somebody close to them gets really sick with the COVID vaccine. With the COVID without a vaccine, they might be swayed in that direction. Honestly, for the school system here, the governor came out last week, said that to stop the spread and to stop overwhelming of the hospitals, even though there's not overwhelming hospitals from friends that I know that are nurses, we have to wear masks indoors anywhere. And teachers who aren't vaccinated have to get tested every week now. It used to be I think it was every 6 weeks, but now it's every week they have to get tested if they don't have the vaccine. And the reason why I believe she's doing it with weekly is to get people annoyed to have to go and take a test every week to eventually just get the vaccine so they don't have to get tested. But again, there's some people that want to wait till the clinical trials are over, which take 2 to 3 years. So maybe some are deferring when there's enough safety data on the vaccine and it's analyzed, so they can have an informed consent on taking the vaccine. I know a lot of people it's just too soon. It came out soon. Science is a lot quicker than it was a long time ago. It would take a long time for vaccines to go through, but a lot of people still are uneasy about it. I think, my mom was telling me, because my mom she's almost going to hit 70, but she said when she was a little girl, polio was a big thing back then, and the vaccine came out and it made things a lot better as far as people dying from polio or getting polio. So it's kind of like this, but it's the 21st century now, where people see all this misinformation on social media and they're like, okay, well, I'm not getting it because this person says this. But instead of actually okay, let's look at something where it's factual. But even the factual stuff, you can tell people that this is, you can get a bunch of anti-vaxxers in a room, have a bunch of scientists, tell them this is how the vaccine works, this is how it helps you, this is how it prevents you from getting sick and dying, and people are still not going to believe it. There's people that are just hard-headed. It doesn't matter. So people are going to make their own decision. And like Julia says, and like you said, Juan, you can't force people to take the vaccine or not. And I don't appreciate like seeing on Twitter people are saying, good, let's not provide hospital care for those that aren't vaccinated. Let's not let them in restaurants. I mean, where does this end? Like, what do they think? Like, this is America. You have a choice. You can't force people to get the vaccine. You can give them enough information, and they're going to make their decision on their own. But I just don't like a lot of the stuff that's going around Twitter about, well, people who aren't vaccinated should, be pretty much ostracized from society.
Along with the misinformation comment that you just made, I was I started my morning off this morning with so I listen to local news radio here in Milwaukee, right? Shameless plug, 620 WTMJ out of Milwaukee. You can hear it all over the state. It's like Wisconsin's radio station. You can hear it up in Green Bay, all the way out west towards like Minnesota. It's great. So I was listening to a story this morning, and they were talking about there's individuals who are they're taking dewormer medication that is used on livestock. It's used on horses, right? It's not necessarily the medication itself, because to my understanding, humans can take the medication. It's just obviously it's significantly lower dose than a 500-pound horse, right, would take. But just in this era of social media and of all of these crazy conspiracies and all of these online Twitter doctors who claim to have all of this information, and it's 90%, 99% of it is fake. I mean, we can start there. Where did this idea or this notion of taking the similar or same dose of horse livestock medication, where did that come from? I'm willing to assume, or I'm willing to put money on, that it came from some weirdo on Facebook who jumped into some sort of thread with other anti-vaxxers, hard right, we're not going to do anything the government tells us to do because, give me liberty or give me death vibes, all that. It gets to the point that now the FDA is out there putting out these warnings about, don't take horse medication. You're not you're not a farm animal. You're not this. Social media has wrecked us, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I love Twitter. I'm sure everyone knows that. Everyone who is listening or watching, I love Twitter. I really do. There's a lot of great things about social media. You get to connect with people. You get to talk with people. You get to see all the funny memes that, people post on there. But you also get fake information. And the fact that people are not able to decipher what is real and what is fake is a concern. It's a genuine concern. And then you get to the point where if something does get proven wrong, right, the same people who were doubting it who were questioning it in the first place or spreading lies are now saying that the fact checkers who are on there, doing this for a living are liars. Now, I'm not saying that everything that fact checkers or whatever, whoever it is that does all this stuff, you have Twitter who has all those people who supposedly sit there and fact check every news story. I'm not saying they don't get it wrong, but most of the time, I can't even talk about this without laughing because it's so funny to me. Because where does it end? Why? That's the question that you asked at the end of your perspective there. Where does it end? Right? The buck stops where? So I don't know what it's going to take for people to say, you know what, this is the right thing we need to do. This is what we need to do. This is what will hopefully get us, or most likely will get us out of this pandemic. So let's do it for the common good, right? I don't think it was this bad. I don't think there was this much misinformation with when I think it was Dr. Jonas Salk who created the polio vaccine back in 1954, 55, I believe it was, after World War II. You know, the amount of misinformation wasn't there because of the fact that social media wasn't in existence. But I don't think, I'm willing to bet money that it wasn't as bad in the 50s as it is now in 2021. Go ahead, Julius.
You're exactly right. Polio and smallpox and none of that stuff was weaponized like COVID was. COVID was immediately used as a political weapon in this country, right? So the vaccine is connected to COVID. No matter what, it's a COVID-19 vaccine. And some people in America just don't want anything to do with COVID or the COVID-19 vaccine because it was weaponized against them politically. And so it just tears the country apart, just like everything else that's used as a political weapon does. And social media doesn't help. The mainstream media, we talk about how people can't decipher fake information. The mainstream media is like the biggest culprits of that idea because they distort it. They distort information to use it as a political weapon. And so, I mean, that's what it all comes down to. It all comes down to like our country is torn apart culturally and politically, and COVID-19 is right in there with it. And it always has been ever since the first day we heard about it.
You know, what's funny is just for the very reason of the fake news, I do teach a unit because I teach media to my students, and I do teach a unit on fake news media and how to decipher on social media because there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of things that people take as truth. And so I want to teach my students, hey, this is how you decipher on if it's fake news or not. This is the criteria. There's a list you can go through, like the 5 things. There's like 5 things I talk about. And we go through like news stories and we're like, okay, is this real or fake? Real or fake? And some of them are hard. Like some of them seem real. Like I'm like, okay, that's real. And they're like, no, it's fake. It ends up being fake, but it seems real. But it's hard to decipher sometimes, but I want to teach them at a young age that, hey, social media is not where you get your factual information a lot of the time. So you got to be careful on what you read or what people say to you.
So you're telling me not to go to the Babylon Bee for my my morning news and the Onion and all that? You're telling me not to do that? I just want to make sure.
If you like comedy.
Well, I mean, for that I can go to CNN. I mean, I can get that on CNN too.
I just go to Julius's Twitter page, and then that's where I get the real
facts. My Twitter feed. Go look at it right now. It's 100% factual. My Twitter feed is 100%. You can trust my Twitter feed, guys.
Not on anything about Bears.
I was going to say not on anything about the Lions, because I mean, there was I think there was
13-3.
Yeah,
that wasn't me. That was not me. That was another co-host on the Honolulu Blues. I would not write that on Twitter. I wouldn't write that. I'm already on record as predicting the Lions win 5 games. I would not write 13 games on Twitter because I would get roasted. I didn't write that. And I still got roasted and I didn't even write it. Just my connection with the podcast.
It's because it's so easy. Well, that's because you just have such a bad history of giving. You have a history of giving bad takes.
I got a rough last couple weeks. I don't have a bad history of Lions. Listen, the Lions and me are like we like 2 peas in a pod. Like, hey, everything with the Lions and me, hey, it's all straight, baby. It's all straight. The Bears and I. Now we have a more complicated relationship on Twitter.
Well, we'll get to that because I'm very curious. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on the pregame that was played this past week against the Bills and the Bears. Really quickly though, before we do switch over to sports, I do want to just touch base on the Afghanistan situation. But before we get to that, I would like to offer my thoughts with the people out on the East Coast who were hit with a tropical storm over the weekend. I have seen the footage of the intense flooding out in New York City. I believe Brooklyn was underwater as well. Just so many places out there and on the East Coast. And shout out to Luke Berry, who was my fellow co-host on Mugs and Chugs. I know he's out there in the Northeast. He was adequately prepping for the tropical storm by drinking excessive amounts of liquor, which is very, very common. I can only imagine. Luke, I love you, Luke. You're a good guy. Also, though, really quickly, do want to offer my thoughts to the people of Tennessee, the great state of Tennessee, who I believe have now received up to 17 inches of rain in the past few days. Some of the most historic flooding that they have seen in their state's history. So a lot of people have unfortunately died because of that. And that was also, I think, partly caused by the tropical storm as well that hit out there. So hope everyone out there is, okay and can get back to their normal everyday lives here soon. But Afghanistan, it's a deteriorating situation. Unfortunately, still, it has been, we covered this last week on the show. It hasn't really gotten any better. The Taliban is now saying that they will not accept any negotiation with the United States to stay any longer than the August 31st deadline. I believe it's August 31st that they're letting everyone leave. Today, the press secretary for the president, Press Secretary Psaki, I believe, Psaki, she made a claim that there are currently no hostages in Afghanistan, or no Americans are trapped in the country. Do you believe that statement, Julius? I'm very curious to know, and I already see some comments popping up here. Biden's worst pullout job since he conceived Hunter. Oh my goodness! All right,
that's the comment. That's the best comment we've ever got.
Oh my goodness! Well, okay. I'm just gonna leave that one up there. I'm gonna go get a drink of water.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Oh God. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes I wonder why I do this still. I am questioning my every
Let's just go back to Skype, man.
Yeah, let's go back to Skype. We'll take away all of the the live Zoom. We won't be live again. Julius, comments on the progress or lack of, rather, if that's the way you look at it, in Afghanistan right now.
It's a total and utter disgraceful disaster. That's what this is. And I can't bear to watch. I gave my heart and soul out to this podcast on what I thought of this situation last week. And I still feel those same sentiments this week. It's just hard for me to watch what's going on. It really is. And right now, Biden and company, who are low-key trying to use the mainstream news and social media to blame Trump, who's not even president no more. Like, he's not even in power. So why would you blame him if he's the other guy? But anyways, it's an utter and total disgrace. And they're trying to save face. But there's no saving face when you get these images coming out of Afghanistan and these reports of Americans trapped. And the Taliban, listen, all last week, you know what I saw on my Twitter? You know what I saw on TV? They were talking about the Taliban like they were some democratic government in Western Europe or something. Like they are all of a sudden moderates when it comes to women, when it comes to religion. All of a sudden, the Taliban, they let's work with them to get things done. Let's work with them to make Afghanistan a better place. Let's work with them to get all these Americans out. You got the Taliban guarding the airport, letting our allies and people we trying to evacuate in and out. They controlling movement. And now they're saying we got until August 31st, or it's going to be some consequences. Listen, as a soldier, I want to get my gun back in my hand, my rifle, and go back over there with a whole crew of my boys and show them why we took them out of power in the first place, because they are bad people, simply put. And there's no saving face when in the last week you've just been making up excuses and blaming other people and trying not to look bad, when what you should be doing is getting our boys out of there, getting our men and women out of there, getting our allies out of there, getting our Afghan nationals that have been with us for the last 20 years out of that country. And now you got the Taliban making ultimatums, and you treating them like they're Norway or Laos or Australia, like they're some legitimate government. They're not. They're terrorists. Okay, they are terrorists. They don't like us. They want us to die. All right. Simply put, they hate us. They hate America. They hate everything about our country, and they hate the people that live here and the people that help us. So you cannot negotiate with terrorists. Your pullout game was weak, Joe Biden. Your pullout game was so weak that you got a humanly disaster on your hand right now. So, I mean, that's all I got to say. I feel a lot of anger, and it's just putrid for me to watch it right now. And I'm scared how this is going to like end up. Really, I am worried.
I mean, they were almost romanticizing the Taliban last week on national television. That's what I got, out of a lot of the
same way they do Antifa.
Well, okay, but to be fair though, I mean, Antifa isn't. They're not a group, right? It's just their individual, or it's like a belief. That's the way that I kind of have been looking at them, is that they're not. I mean, I don't think Antifa is an organized. They're not an organized group.
Yeah,
I think it's
you're right. You're right with your point about the Taliban.
Yes, but the Taliban itself, it just seems like the media was just like romanticizing the Taliban and making them look like they were the victims almost in this whole thing. And it's like, the media, and if you would have done any of that back in during the Bush era, I mean, you would have gotten killed, like slaughtered by the president at the time, and all when this whole war in Afghanistan began in the first place, right? Romanticizing the Taliban, come on. But it's just so it's this whole just the way that it's all happening, and I just cannot express my disappointment enough with this whole process. And then you have your Secretary of State, who just doesn't feel like he knows what he's doing either, right? I was watching an interview, I believe it was today, and it just didn't even seem like they really had like a coordinated plan in place. It just seems very sporadic. I'm afraid of what will happen if they don't leave by the deadline at the end of August. I just don't even want to begin to think about that. But Wyatt, just some quick thoughts on this before we switch over to sports. As he mutes himself, the man is muted.
You didn't want to hear what I said. No, it feels like Biden appears weak, even though it's not his complete fault for the Afghanistan thing. It just makes America look weak with what's going on. And I would assume that there's probably some Americans that are still left in Afghanistan. So hopefully they can make it out safely.
Yeah,
that was short.
Absolutely. I like it. It was short and simple and to the point, and here we go. It's awesome. 34 minutes into the show, guys. Remember that On Point discussion is brought to you by our official sponsor, One Call Technology. And it is now time for sports here on OPD, and we start tonight with some news that broke over the weekend, actually, and it's actually really exciting news here for our city here in Milwaukee, and that is that Giannis Antetokounmpo, NBA, obviously now NBA world champion Giannis Antetokounmpo, bought some stake in the Milwaukee Brewers right now, who of course are leading in first place in the NL Central in their division. Giannis made this. I guess the purchase was made, or the acquisition was made back in May, to my understanding, but they kept it hidden until obviously the finals ended and the playoffs ended and whatnot. Giannis is the first person I was hearing today. Giannis is the first person to buy stake in the Brewers since 2005. So it's a significant moment for Milwaukee and for for the city. If you are watching in the live comments, or on the live stream, and if you have any comments on this and what maybe this will mean for the Brewers and for the city as a whole, I mean, please feel free to drop those in here on the comment section. I see Mike is saying Brewers are going to win the series now. Giannis was the final piece. It's like a huge triangle, right? So I believe Aaron Rodgers owns some stake in the Bucks. Giannis and now owns something with the Brewers. Now we just need Christian Yelich or something to go up and buy, become part owner of the Packers, which I'm told is fairly easy to do, seeing that the Packers have no owner. So just make a huge, nice little triangle with all the Wisconsin sports teams here in the brew in the cheese state. But it's a special thing. It really honestly is. You look at where Giannis came from. And his background, right? Being from Greece and where he originated from, how he was able to get his feet on the ground and work for something that took many years. But now we have Giannis, winning the NBA Finals here in Milwaukee, the celebration, the pomp and circumstance of that, becoming a part stakeholder in the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, it's a truly fascinating story, right, for this young man who has so much life, so much ahead of him still. He is not done with any of his accomplishments. I can still foresee many more special and amazing things that he will do for himself and for this city that I very much adore and have come to love. See, Levi is saying, yep, they still won't win a World Series. Well, he, our good friend Levi out there in Washington State is a diehard Cubs fan, and unfortunately, neither will the Cubs, Levi. So let's not boast too much here. Adam Kuno says, this is going to push the Brewers from a small market team to a team that is going to be one that competitive for years to come. And that's a really good point, actually, Adam, because think about it this way. You have arguably the best player in the NBA, in the world right now, Giannis, buying stake in a small market Milwaukee Brewers team that has not won a World Series, right? They're underdogs, and obviously with the Cubs being very successful, just 80 miles to our south for the longest time, the Brewers finally have their chance. They're very, very a strong team right now, needless to say. Could this be the final piece, right? Do we start looking at what does this mean in the long run? It's just such a special thing. I do want to get both of your thoughts on this though, because again, I was very happy. I was very happy when I saw the news over the weekend, seeing the pictures of Giannis being out there and being at AmFam Field and taking pictures with the team executives, and the ceremony happened. I saw the picture of him standing out in the at the ballpark. He's a very tall man. If there was any doubts that he is not tall, that there was a picture on social media. Very tall, 6'11", I believe is his height. So Wyatt or Julius, whoever wants to go first on this, please feel free.
It's good. It's good that he took stake in the Brewers. That means that he wants to stay in the Milwaukee area, wants to maybe stay there for his whole career. So it shows to the people in the community that he has a stake in that community. I mean, I'm sure he does other things besides, of course, buying stake in the Brewers. I'm sure he does a lot for the community there. But it's nice to have somebody that wants to spend their whole career, obviously, in one city for basketball.
I think that speaks volumes to your other notable superstars, right? Who have hopped around the country and who have gone to build super teams. I'm not going to name any specific people in this rant, LeBron, but you. Oh God, see, I really don't want to go on a rant, but I have to. I have to now because I mentioned it. You look at other players like LeBron James, who obviously went to LA to build another super team, and unfortunately their team is now sponsored by, the Penn Retirement Company because they're all so old. But it just shows the character of Giannis of wanting to stay in this small, the small city, right? And I see Mike is already saying, "Speak your mind, Juan." Rant. Giannis is a class act, right? I have said this. I have said this on many occasions, and I will continue to say it. Right? The Chicago Bulls have my heart. That is a fact. But Giannis has a piece of my of I don't want to say soul because that gets too it gets too mushy and cute and all that. No, I can look up to someone like Giannis, right? Who is staying with this team who got him back in, however long ago it was now. He's staying here. He's investing in the city. He wants to see Milwaukee succeed and be the best, the best city that it can be in the Midwest, and obviously be a competitor for our neighbors down to the south in Chicago. So I tip my hat off to LeBron. To Giannis for that. I wish more athletes would do this. The show investment not only in the team that they play for, but an investment in the city that they are playing for, and that's exactly what it comes down to, right? It's just loving the city that you're in right now. Julius, any final thoughts on this before we move on to our good old football talk?
It's a pretty feel-good story. I'm happy for Giannis. I'm happy for the city of Milwaukee. I've been there several times. I like the city a lot. I like it so. So any time that a superstar who delivers a championship and is this beloved, he may be the most beloved Milwaukee athlete of all time at this point. He may be the most beloved Wisconsin athlete of all time at this point. Anytime an athlete this beloved does something else that connects the city with another team, and he could, like Wyatt was saying, this is like a forever thing. Giannis always wants to be a part of Milwaukee. He always wants to be, no matter what, a Milwaukeean. So shout out to Giannis. It's a feel-good story. Feel good.
It absolutely is. And, I'm very happy that Giannis signed that extension and that he's going to be sticking around here for a while. I actually, it's really funny because I still have it's just kind of been sitting here in my little den where I record, but I still have a newspaper, still have a copy of the championship newspaper from that day of Wednesday, July 21st of this year. So I have yet to, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. Actually, I was going to get it framed. But I think I'm going to give it to an actual Bucks fan who probably wants to cherish it for a very long time. And so we'll see, final game, of course, game 6, Bucks 105, Suns 98.
You want me and Julius to autograph it first before you give it away, just let us know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how much the shipping is probably going to cost me more than what I'll actually get from it. That's the issue here we're going to have. So, but yes, remember, definitely a night that the Brew City will not forget. The NBA championship, of course, the drought ending here in the Brew City. So let's talk football real quick, guys, for the last few minutes that we've got on the show tonight on Point Discussion. Week 2 of the preseason ended, came and went. The entire division, it looks like, took a nice fat L. Detroit lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Packers, of course, took an L to the New York Jets, which I was not expecting, to be honest with you. The Bears got destroyed.
Spanked.
Mitch Trubisky officially claimed Mitchell Trubisky adopted us, and he became our father.
Live, breaking news, live on air. Juan has admitted that Mitch Trubisky is no longer the Lions' father. He is now the Bears' father.
Mitch Trubisky
will the Lions.
Mitch Trubisky will forever be the Lions' destroyer. All right, Mitch Trubisky literally would go to Detroit and would tear the Lions apart every single time. So
he would go to Detroit and give Bears fans hope that he was something other than a career backup quarterback. And that's what he's doing now with the Bills. It seems like the Bears was holding Mitch back, man. Like, he just needs to get away from y'all. Now he's everything and more that y'all could have ever wanted and will never have.
Fields had a welcome to the NFL moment. I wonder if the game is still too slow to him. Well, Mike, I see that the Packer fans in the comments are starting to talk about, are starting to trash talk already. You know, they're gradually coming to the realization that their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, is nearing his end. So now they need to go and trash the other team who has a rising up and coming quarterback to relieve some of that sadness. So Mitch still owns the Lions. That will never change.
That's not true. He
Mitch
had a bad game
owns,
against us, unlike
Mitch
the Bears.
Mitch owns the Detroit Kitty Cats. He went in there and made he would make rugs out of the fur of the kitty cats over in Detroit, and he has them all over his house today with his beautiful wife Hillary.
Oh my gosh!
And there's nothing, and there's nothing you can do about it, Julius.
There isn't. He did well against us in a Bears uniform. It's true.
The big question that has been surrounding the Chicago Bears, at least, and we can obviously talk a little bit more about the Lions in a few minutes here, but the big question is, should Justin Fields start at this very moment, or even when the season begins? So Coach Nagy has been very firm on saying that Andy Dalton, of course, will be the week 1 starter, and that's the end of that. However, of course, our beloved Bears fan base is asking otherwise, asking for a change in that, to have Justin Fields start. Now, what other rival fans have said is there's no point in Justin Fields starting because the Bears don't have a chance anyways. Is that a logical reason? I see someone in the comments says, yes, he gives the Bears the best chance at winning, but at what risk? What's the cost?
Right? Winning what?
What is the risk factor behind that, right? Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if this is a hot take or not amongst Bears fans, but I've seen a lot of this talk, this back and forth as well. And Wyatt, please, correct me if I'm wrong, but our offensive line is not good. At least based on what I have seen and what I have kind of read up on in the past few days. Our offensive line is not the best. Is starting Justin Fields going to put him in danger of getting hurt? Justin Fields took a hit on Saturday that actually knocked off his helmet, and I was very agitated about, but it's fine. I punched air for like 20 minutes. I was good. It was fine. I wanted to nuke the entire city of Buffalo after that, but I settled down. I was cool. Shout out to my friend Devin for going on a road trip with me on Saturday after that, because I was heated. Went to get some beer up in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Very good brewery up there, which I will be reviewing on Friday, I think. Anyway. Winning more games against the Lions, or more games on the Lions. Justin Fields will do that to the Bears, our friend Levi says. So, Wyatt, do we start Justin? Do we leave him on the bench? What do you think?
I mean, clearly I want Justin Fields to play, and I kind of just sit back and listen to Bears Twitter explain why he should start and why Nagy's an idiot. Mm-hmm. Let me backtrack a little bit from that game that happened. I know it's only preseason, but it's clear that I don't think Nagy is the coach for Justin Fields, and hopefully next year we have a new coach. Just seeing a lot of the same stuff, shitty play call, wide receivers running the same route or in the same area. It's just a lack of discipline, and I'm hoping that we get somebody in there that's going to help get Justin Fields going in the right direction. I just feel like Nagy's kind of like a narcissist and just thinks that he knows, like, I don't know. It just seems that way. Like he knows what's best. And clearly Justin Fields is going to bring us a better chance to win than Andy Dalton is. I think the Bears offensive line, German Ifedi came back. Jason Peters, he said he had a broken toe, and that's why he didn't play so good after a couple games last season. I think with those guys in, you got James Daniels, you got Mustafa at center, you got Whitehair. I think those guys are good. You're gonna get some good production out of them to keep the quarterback upright. But if one of them goes down, we're gonna be shit out of luck here. So if the starting five can stay in and they're healthy, I think we'll be fine as far as the offensive line, but we really don't have too much depth behind those guys. I'd like to see Justin Fields start, but again, I'm just going to let the process play out. I enjoy seeing him in the preseason playing. I'd like to see him play with the ones, see how he plays with them, because he's playing with like threes and some Band-Aid offensive line. So that's a long-winded response to Juan's question.
I'm like, who? Twitter has jumped in on this conversation as well. I'm getting a lot of yeses. Someone actually just within the last second, someone says no. Let's see. So the question is out there, right? Should Justin Fields start right away at the beginning of the season? That's the question. At O Like a Rock says, absolutely not. In Nagy, we trust. Follow the genius of the best offensive mind in football, dare I say, ever. I'm going to go out of a limb and say that is 100% sarcasm because that's normally how he is. I actually cannot believe I just read that out loud because I should not have taken it seriously. I hate myself. A lot of people are saying yes, right? That he should start, that he should go out there. I know our friend Levi is saying here on the live chat, I just posted this comment, but I'm going to do it again. Look at what Wilson did for the Hawks. He'll learn quick to avoid the big hits. I mean, is this the same situation as what Russell Wilson was put in, though? I mean, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't recollect, his beginnings, years back. I don't know. Is that the same situation? I mean, do we just throw him out there and just be like, here's there's your blessing, go out there, and if you get destroyed, you get destroyed? I mean, I don't think that's the logical way of doing it, but I mean, everyone has different opinions, I guess, on that. Julius, I would ask you, but I don't know if your team has the.
Let me give my opinion on this one. Let me give my opinion on this, okay?
You should have. You have to let me finish the trolling comment.
You are too kind, Wyatt. You are too kind to the Bears' offensive line, okay? Justin Fields is going to be running for his life from week one if you start him, and he could get hurt. Now, Justin Fields is a rookie quarterback. In the history of the last 30 years or so in the NFL, there have been very few rookie quarterbacks who have led their team to the playoffs and had above average quarterback seasons. As a matter of fact, the average rookie quarterback has a below average quarterback season. This includes the likes of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, a lot of people. Russell Wilson had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time. So did Cam Newton, who is also a scrambling quarterback. Now, is it something to be said? Well, maybe he can escape from a lot of that pressure he's going to be getting. Well, unless he is Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick type scramble, I don't think that's going to really matter. He's going to take a lot of hits. He's still learning his offense. I would wait a week or two. I would wait if Andy Dalton looked like complete dog doo-doo, okay? And Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace want to save their jobs, y'all can start them by week 3 or 4. I think that's just the smart thing to do, because if you put them out there in week 1, throw them to the dogs, it's a chance everything goes south immediately. And then what you going to do? Bench him for Dalton? Bench him for Foles? Then the Bears season is over, okay? So I would save him. Wait until you know for sure that Andy Dalton is not that y'all defense and running game is not good enough to wheel y'all to the playoffs, okay? Once y'all know that, we need a quarterback. Give the kid a shot, but don't do it right away. That's just my opinion. I have nothing against Justin Fields. I think there's a 50-50 chance he busts. And I think Bears fans are,
you have everything against Justin Fields because he's going to be your next father.
I really hope he's not. All right.
I don't want to be the godfather.
If Justin Fields turned to a top 5 elite quarterback in the NFL, that would just make my life as a Lions fan horrible. So, of course, I'm wishing against that. And every other opposing fan in the NFC North is wishing against that. Vikings, Packers, Lions. We do not want that to happen. But honestly, I'm giving my real true opinion. Y'all should wait just a couple weeks, few weeks. Maybe Andy Dalton is a game manager and y'all got something going. Just wait.
Well, who knows? Maybe Andy Dalton has an elite year, and all of the Justin Fields, Avi's, and Stans will
have to change their picture.
Will be
and get roasted by me on Twitter as my Lions win 13 games.
Someone on Twitter asks, better question, why would you not start him unless Dalton was head and shoulders above him? He isn't. That, I think that goes off of what you were just saying, Julius, right? I just have to kind of wait and see what result we get from watching Andy Dalton in those first 2 games. I genuinely think that if Dalton is just a huge bust, which could very well happen. I mean, just again, based on the performances that I've seen both in person at Soldier Field and on TV, week 3, maybe that Nagy is like, you know what? Yeah, week 4. Yeah, because Detroit. But
hey, listen, don't do week 3 or week 5, because if he open up against Detroit, his first game, that might be it for him. That might be it.
What do you mean that might be it for him?
The Lions defense might end his whole existence in that game. Am I laughing?
The Detroit Kitty Cats aren't going to do a thing. Number one, the most they'll do is just take their little claws out and just kind of try to claw and
can I give y'all an honest assessment of what I think about the Lions at this moment?
The Bears are Lions killers. The Bears are Lions
killers. Talking about the Bears so much. Let me just
give you an honest assessment of the Lions right now. I'm scared. Okay, I am scared. I'm scared that we win 2 games. I'm scared that we win 4 games. I predicted 5 on record. 7. I don't listen. Okay, listen. We got this. The thing. There's a few glimmers of optimism that makes you think maybe it's almost similar to the Bears situation in a way. Y'all got a few plus things about y'all roster that gives y'all hope, but overall, you're scared. You're scared the Bears are going to be trash. Okay, Bears Nation. This is live on air. You hear me? Let's record it. Come back to it. The Bears are scared. The Lions fans are scared. We're in this together, okay? The Lions right now, their secondary, Jeff Okudah, we drafted him 3rd overall last year. He did not have the best game against Pittsburgh last game. It was okay, and there's still hope for him. It's his second season without Patricia, his first season without Patricia, hopefully. But our secondary is worrisome. I'm scared that teams are going to be able to throw all over us unless our front 7, which we have a lot of hope for, comes through. Derek Barnes, remember that name. He's a rookie linebacker out of Purdue. He's had one of the 2 best rookie preseason performances I've ever seen for a Lions linebacker, and that's saying something. But
I was going to say.
I mean, that's not saying much. Let me say that. But he looks really good. Okay, he looks like this guy could have been a 1st or a 2nd round pick and not a 5th round pick, and he could be the guy that helps us out a lot. Our defensive line is healthy, and it looks like we got some talent there. So the defense is worrisome, okay? The offense is also worrisome. Why? Because of Jared Goff, all right? I only seen him throw a few passes the preseason. He did throw a few nice balls, but a few plays I done saw him. He looks just like what the Rams were telling us he was. Like a guy, once he gets under pressure, once he feels the pressure from the blitz or from the edge of the opposite team, he panics and he does stupid things. So, and we saw a little bit of that in the preseason. We saw him throw some pretty balls when he wasn't over pressure. So the hope is our offensive line. That's the main key you're going to take away from this. The Lions' offensive line looks to be strong. And if the Lions have not just a strong offensive line, but an elite offensive line that stays healthy, can they protect Jared Goff enough for him to be productive with TJ Hockenson and our tig-tag grab a group of wide receivers we got, no-name receivers? Could he be successful? Can DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, our 2 running backs, go off behind this offensive line? These are the questions, but I'm worried that they won't be very good. That we have 4 first-round picks the next 2 years. We could build this into something nice next season, maybe even a season after that. But this year, it's just not looking pretty. And that's the honest assessment of the Lions right now. But I also don't think it's looking pretty for the Bears. So, I mean, we're all in this together, guys.
There's your favorite Twitter fan, Julius. Justin Fields is better than the entire Lions.
We'll see when the Okwara brothers and Trey Flowers and Michael Brockers and Levi Orzarookie is laying Justin Fields on his butt. In week 4, if y'all choose to start him, then it's gonna be funny. I'm gonna laugh. I mean, I'm gonna roast the Bear fans. I'm gonna roast the Justin Fields Avies. Justin Fields is better. Yeah, no.
Tampa won the NFC North more recently than the Lions.
That's old. That's old. Get a new joke. Get a new fact. Julie, not call it a joke because it's a fact. Actually, it was NFC Central. That fact is a joke. It's wrong. It was the NFC Central, not the NFC North. So Tampa didn't win the NFC North. Sorry, Phil Zavy. Sorry, buddy. Shout out to him though, because he stay on my butt on Twitter, and I appreciate that because he's going to be the first one in line getting roasted when all this goes downward for the Bears.
It's one day the Lions will be back, and one day I'll have to swallow my pride and say, you know what, the Lions are good.
You know something though? There's people who've lived and died saying that same thing you just said, Juan. That the Lions are going to be back one day. And here we are, 65 years removed from our last NFL title, from our last playoff win, 33 years removed from our last playoff win. Listen, they might not come back. I hope they do, though. I really do. Because I love the Lions. They're my favorite. They're my favorite team. For some reason. I've seen Tigers wins. I've seen Red Wings wins. I've seen Piston championships. I've never really saw Lions wins. And somehow they're my favorite. Go Lions.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll say a prayer that God brings the Lions a Super Bowl championship when Julius is 80 and on his deathbed.
I take it. If I'm still alive, I'll take it.
You'll see Julius 80-some-year-old Julius at the parade getting pushed around in a wheelchair like, let's go.
I'll be there with him. I'll be pushing him.
I'll take that over never.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been On Point discussion for tonight. It appears, as always, our special guest for the night, Wyatt's son, has made an appearance here on the show, as is typical now every week. Future Bears fan, of course. Another
he's got a Mac jersey. A onesie he's gonna wear on opening day.
There you go. Attaboy.
Should have called him Khalil. Khalil.
Okay, now and that is where we end the show.
Sorry, Okuda. I'll call him Okuda.
Wyatt at the Cornelius 7, Julius at the fifth top, the network page at Lounge Room Nets, and of course the podcast page at Talks on Point. Yours truly, Juan, at Lounge Room Press 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been On Point discussion for Monday, August 23rd, 2021. As always, brought to you by One Call Tech and by Fanatics. The comments are still raging about Fields as Avi.
Go Lions, the Bears suck. And
Lions.
Fields Avi's not undefeated. Actually, y'all hold this L from the Bills and Mitch Trubisky this past week.
Oh, God.
Preseason doesn't count.
And this is the point where I would get a whole bunch of Packers Avies telling me the preseason doesn't count. The preseason doesn't count, and I'm like, guys, relax. I'm very well aware.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Like it's just a little, just take a step back. Take a step back and breathe. This is probably the only time you guys are gonna lose. I mean, back to back like this. To my unfortunately, but. This has been Talks on Point, everyone. Have a great rest of your work week. Have a good rest of your evening. Stay safe wherever you are that you are listening to this podcast. Special shout out tonight goes to my friend Adam Kunos down in the great state of Florida, the Sunshine State. Thank you for tuning in tonight, sir. My friend Mike here in Milwaukee, Levi out in Washington State, and of course everyone else who commented interacted with us here on the show tonight. Thank you very much. Have a great night, week, and we will see you all next week. And as is customary on the show, on the way we end it, of course,
go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go Bears! See you smiling,
Go Lions.
Bear fan. Bear down.